Welcome back to Sequoia High School PAL tournament action here. Semifinals, game 2 coming up, game 1 in the books. It was a 52-45 win for South San Francisco over Aragon. South San Francisco will move on to the championship game tomorrow night. It'll be a 6 o'clock tip. They will play the winner of Terra Nova and Sequoia. Those two teams will tip it up today at 6 o'clock. Now we'll move on to the boys' side, where a great matchup here between the winners of the North Division, Jefferson, under their sixth-year coach, John Felabala, 91-65 in his years. They are the defending champions of the PAL North. And on the boys' side, on the other side, the runner-up this year in the PAL South, seeing their first PAL tournament action since 2012. That is Carlmont, under their second-year head coach, Ron Osorio. They were 10-2 this year. Overall, 20-4 on the season. The winner of this game will play the winner of Menlo Atherton and Terra Nova. MA knocking down the PAL South Division Championship this year, and Terra Nova coming in second at 8-4. That was a nice little battle for second place in the North on the boys' side. However, first, we will come up here with game 1, and we'll have starting lineups coming up in a moment. We'll have our national anthem, and then we'll get underway. But before we do that, I just want to give you a little bit of history of the PAL tournament, and maybe even further back than that. Bay Area tournament action for basketball started all the way back in 1947. It was at Lowell High School, and it was called the Tournament of Champions, and they played at Cal Harmon Gym. It was played at Lowell. A couple other places. A guy by the name of Bill Russell played in that. Paul Silas played in that. A couple other guys you may have heard of over the years. From there, they kept the tournament on the other side of the bay. But between 1952 and 1965, just a population explosion on the peninsula. 17 schools, high schools opened, and so we needed our own tournament. And hence the beginning of the Peninsula Basketball Tournament that was played at Stanford. That went for between 59 and 67. The winners of the North Peninsula League, the winners of the South Peninsula League, and the winners of the Mid-Peninsula League were 3 of the invitations to that tournament. It was an 8-team tournament, and at Stanford. Great tournament right there. However, CCS begins in 68-69, and the CCS, because of the way it was run, no way to have the PAL tournament or the Peninsula Basketball Tournament for those 2 years. Hence, in 1970, they started the PAL tournament in the South, Mid, and North Peninsula Leagues. It went from 1970 to 1982. Tremendous basketball in those. 1982, 83, both the Mid and the South Peninsula Athletic League, well, they merge as we're getting ready for tonight's action here in Game 1. What we're left with is a 10-team league for the PAL. They continue the PAL tournament. It goes from 83 to 92. It's the top 4 teams in the North and the top 4 teams in the South. Unbelievable teams. In 88, Jefferson would win the North Tourney and the state championship, as a matter of fact. Everyone was, it was a double elimination tournament that particular year. The only North team to win a state championship is this team right here. That came under Bud Bresnahan. In fact, an amazingly small number of coaches at Jefferson over the years. You have Coach Felabella in his 6th year, Coach Nick Paris, who's here right now today. I want to say about 15 years. Before that, it was Bud Bresnahan for about 25. I mean, you got 3 coaches in about 50 years here at Jefferson High School. Well, from 83 and 92, it was those teams playing, and MA would win a state championship as well a year after Jefferson did. Just shows the kind of talent there is in this PAL tournament. Unfortunately, between 93 and 99, the PAL tournament does not happen. Instead, they have nothing. Really has to do with CCS, and they couldn't fit it in. Well, in late 99, Chuck Kent, he was the commissioner of the PAL. He wanted to bring the PAL tournament back. So in 2000, it returned. Gordy Young brought it back. First 3 years at Cappuccino, handful of years at MA, Woodside, Sequoia, Hillsdale, Burlingame, San Mateo, South City, El Camino. It's been everywhere. Mills, great place for a tournament. It's been there as well. It's been different over the years. For the first 5 years, it was the top 4 teams from the North played the top 4 from the South. And from 06 to 09, we actually had the power structure, so it was the bay, the ocean, and the lake. So completely different setup. A couple years, all 16 teams were invited into the tournament. It has morphed over many times over the years. About 6 years ago, they decided they were going to go with the 4 from the north, 4 from the south. That would be it. This year, we did make a change to just have 4 games so we could get it in the tournament. We are going to take a quick break for the national anthem. We'll be back for the tip to tonight's second game. John Mylod, Ethan Castle live here for the South City Video Art YouTube channel. Game 1 on the boys' side, getting ready to tip it up. It is the champions from the north, Jefferson, and the runners-up from the south, Carlmont. And Ethan's got a little background. There's a little look at this Carlmont team heading into today's game.
Yes, Carlmont's gotten this far. Their first time in the PAL tournament since it switched to the format they now have with the 4 teams from the north and 4 from the south. So it's been a while since they've had this level of success. They've got a trio of 3-year starters to do so, although one of those is out today. Number 21, David Pedrosian, he is out sick, so Zach Burgos is in the starting lineup instead. The other 2 3-year starters are here, Lawan Nelson and Sho Takahashi. Ben Ledwith going for the opening tip for the Scots. Their other starter is Sammy Bean. Meanwhile, Jefferson will be Saif Farah going for the tip. They've also got Luis Villarreal, North Division MVP J.J. Cruz, Brooks Daniels, and Marquez Costaniano set to go for the Grizzlies. They shared the PAL North title last year, and they won it this year, and they are about to get underway with the Scots in what should be maybe the closest game of the day.
A great one on tap in the boys' side of Game 1. Opening tip is going to be controlled by Carlmont, as into the front court is Burgos. Posting up is Ledwith down low. They go back out top to Sho Takahashi. Takahashi between the circles. That's a 25-foot 3 straight away, and it's good. 3-0 opening moments here. Game 1. Carlmont comes into this game 10-2 in the league, 20-4 overall. Ball on the right side, Farah. They go top of the key to Constagnano, and then left side on the way, a 3. Villarreal is going to answer for Jefferson. We are 3-3 opening moments.
One thing you may notice, that is not the voice of John Horgan. He's taking this one off. It's Cappuccino PA announcer Michael Trainer on the mic. He and Horgan, great friends, both Sarah alums from the 50s. They go way back.
Burgos now to Bean at the top of the key. Finally, Sho Takahashi has it. Between the leg dribble to create some space instead of spin. Can't do it. Burgos outside the arc, drives in left side, left finger roll, no good. Bedwith the rebound for Carlmont. Takahashi fakes on the 3. 3 on the way, also offside. That's Lawan Nelson, no good on the shot. Jefferson the rebound quickly. J.J. Cruz down the floor, dish, left side 3 on the way, misses everything. Weak side rebound pulled down by Farah. A second opportunity, Cruz, wow, could have got away with the double dribble right there. Instead, they'll pop it out top to Constagnano, restart the offense with 17 on the shot clock. 6.5 first quarter. 2-2. Farah drives in with the left shot, floater over Bedwith is good. 5-3, Jeff on top, opening moments.
Led with a nice long 6'6", long arms, but he might not be the most physical of post players. That might be Grant Acker, who comes off the bench and sees significant minutes for Carlmont. In fact, surprised they didn't start him or Jake Kennedy and went with the smaller lineup against the Jefferson team that crashes the boards.
Ledwith with the ball at the free throw line.
The one who got that start, Burgos, just handed off to Ledwith, now got it back. Burgos kicks to the corner, good ball movement. Takahashi back to Bean. Bean, floater, back iron and in.
5-all here, opening moments. On a dribble into the front court is Consigliano. He goes down the right lane. Nice job of shielding the defender, gets the bucket to go. That's his first. 7-5. Quickly down the floor, that's Nelson. And a blocking foul is going to be called. It's going to go against Jefferson. Villarreal just nailed a three a moment ago. He picks up the foul. First foul of any kind here in today's game. Opening moments from Sequoia. Semifinal boys side, Carlmont and Jefferson. Takahashi between the circles, between the leg dribble to try to create some space. Can't. J.J. Cruz all over him, all the way out to the timeline. Now down the right lane, between the defenders, the shot off the glass and good by Takahashi. As not quite the same size as Carlmont has inside, but Takahashi found a lane, splitting around Nelson and Farah, and gets the bucket to fall. He's got all 5 of the 7, rather. Free throw on the way is good. He completes the old-fashioned three-point play. And it's an 8-7 lead for Carlmont. As into the front court is J.J. Cruz.
Cruz, the North Division MVP.
It's like 2-3 zone, top of the key.
They want to force Jefferson to shoot from the outside rather than cut to the hoop. Good working it inside here, but led with the block on Villarreal. Burgos into the front court, defended by Consigliano.
Burgos with the ball, spins out of the hand of Villarreal. Now Nelson, floater on the left baseline. He's fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot a pair.
Foul is called on number 0, Jefferson Lewis Villarreal. That is the 13th foul on the Grizzlies.
The lead 1 for Carlmont. Free throw by Lawan Nelson is good. Saw Nelson in action on Friday against Sequoia. And boy, Carlmont has so many athletic players that can attack from so many different angles. They are a deep team, and as Ethan, you mentioned, they may be missing a couple guys today, but this is a team that can kind of handle missing a couple guys.
Especially with a guy like Nelson. They call him the and one general. I think you could call him the coast-to-coast general, how many times he pulls down a rebound and goes the full length of the court.
Definitely seems like that's what he's doing. Cruz now, between the circles, goes left on Takahashi. Farah steps left elbow. Now down low, pass is good, but the shot rolls off the rim by Daniels. Rebound was Carlmont, grabbed it, and he threw it off of. Yeah, it will be Carlmont ball as he threw it off of Daniels. 10-7 the lead for Carlmont here. Ledwood, check that. We got another big one in the game.
That would be Jake Kennedy, first guy off the bench, and they really missed him when he was out with a concussion.
And this time Kennedy all the way down the floor, forces one up, but he's going to draw the foul. And going to line for a pair of free throws will be Kennedy. Picking up the foul is going to be Brooks Daniels.
Daniels just a sophomore and running back on the football field. He's translated those abilities into being such a strong rebounder for Jefferson.
First by Kennedy is good. It's an 11-7 lead for this Carlmont squad. Scott says, Ethan mentioned, the first time they've earned the right to be at the PAL tournament. They picked a hard year to do it. It's the only year only 2 teams have been invited. And shot no good, but the putback is good by Grant. Quickly down the floor the other way is Consigliano down the lane, no good with the shot. And a rebound by Kennedy, and here come the Scots leading 13-7. Takahashi had a brief moment off the floor, now he's back. Left side Nelson. Also Abraham Goldbeck is checked in, he has the ball now. Takahashi can go top of the key and Nelson. They whip it around the key. Kennedy thinks about a 3, now pulls the trigger, no good. Rebound knocked around side, controlled by Grant of Carlmont. Takahashi goes to the baseline. 15-footer by Nelson is good. And now a 15-7 lead as it's a 10-0 run by Carlmont.
They've done such a good job controlling the boards here, and they're pushing the pace against the Jefferson team that likes to keep the game in the 40s whenever they can.
It's an 8-point lead, and Cruz down the left lane, and he's going to draw the foul right there. Foul's going to be on Takahashi.
We have a foul call.
That's going to be his first team foul on Carlmont. Jefferson 4 in the first half of the first quarter here. 15-8 the lead for Carlmont.
2 of those fouls on Villarreal, who hasn't seen the floor since he picked up the second about a minute and a half ago.
And nice inbounds pass. Brooks Daniels nails the bucket, and that will end the run, 15-9.
Abram Goldbeck, one of Carlmont's reserves, bringing up the floor.
And Nelson goes left side bean. They whip it around Kennedy, thinks about the 3 again. This time he goes baseline, around far, blocked up top. And now the ball loose on the floor, as are 4 bodies. And there's 3 Indians or Grizzlies, and there's 1 Scott, and so I think they'll give the ball to Jefferson. Actually, that's not how that works. It's a possession arrow, and it belonged to Jefferson, but you gotta love the hustle. Love seeing the burn marks when the kids are diving on the floor.
That's something this Jefferson team emphasizes. They commit to defense and they commit to hard work. It's not just a cliche.
So Bird, Nelson, Daniels, Farah on the floor with Villarreal. The pass is going to be knocked out of bounds. Check that, that's Consigliano for Jefferson. It'll be the Grizzlies ball on the side. Kennedy, Grant, Bean, along with Goldbeck, and Nelson on the floor for Carlmont. 2:40 first quarter, 6-point lead for the Scots under their second-year coach, Ron Osorio.
And they're going
2-3 zone. And now Cruz tries to get between him, dishes back out. Bird tries to get inside, and he's going to draw the foul right there. And at the last moment, he passed it. I think he'd be a little happier. I mean, the decision was good to pass it, but once the whistle blew, probably wished he was putting that ball up. Ecker picks up his second team foul on Carlmont. Ledwith and Takahashi will come back in for Nelson and Kennedy. Jefferson will have the ball underneath. Quickly, outside the arc, 3 on the way. They got to get a hand in Consigliano's face. Weak side rebound taken down by Kennedy. Brings it into the front court on the dribble, accelerating towards the goal, but knocked out of his hands by far. Loose ball picked up. Bird pass down the floor. J.J. Cruz shot off the glass, no good. Bird gets that board. The putback is around and in by Brooks Daniels. The lead down to 4.
They love Tariq Bird's energy. They call him TQ. He is one of the fiery guys on this team, a football player as well. And right away, Jefferson back up. It's Cruz off the turnover, and they're down just 2.
Consigliano the steal, Cruz the benefactor, and now a 6-0 run. It's a 2-point lead, 15-13. Takahashi into the front court, and a foul's called. They're going to get J.J. Cruz on that foul, a hand check foul. And that is going to just be the 5th team foul. So we got a couple more before we start shooting some one-on-ones.
Kareem Caraballo getting his first few moments here for Jefferson. Carlmont will sub Kennedy out for the moment. Kennedy was out for that huge game against Menlo Atherton on February 1st. He was concussed. And Osorio described him as their toughest guy, one of their energy guys, and he's very valuable off the bench. Can really stretch defenses with his length.
We'll see that MA team playing later on tonight versus Terra Nova. Burgos with the ball. Drive inside to the near corner to Jimmy Bean, and Bean the extra step. That will be traveling, giving the ball back to this Jefferson squad. 90 seconds left first quarter. It's a 2-point lead for Carlmont.
Nice to see a decent crowd spilled in. Both teams bringing out their cheer squads. Not bad for a Monday afternoon. Sometimes these weekday games can be tough to get folks to show up. People have definitely taken notice, understand the magnitude of this game.
Especially when you get teams from the north, teams that aren't close. You know, you're not going to have that same student body unless they really have the passion. Cruz, left lane, scoop shot with the left is good. It's a 15-15 game, an 8-0 run late in this first quarter. Quickly down the floor, Nelson, his shot no good, but a foul is going to be called. I think they're going to get Farah. He didn't like it, but he is going to, well, check that. That is Caraballo. And Caraballo is going to pick up that foul.
Caraballo just gets a couple minutes here and there off the bench, but helps provide the length. You know, they graduated last year's MVP, Rodney Lawrence. He was 6'5", 6'6". He could really hit the boards, but Falabella prides himself on having an entire team that rebounds hard. Make up for not having just one big guy. They've got a little length at every position. They can all really get to the boards well.
Trying to break the 8-0 run is Nelson. He misses both free throws. Farah will pull down the rebound. Gets it in the hands of the league's MVP as he brings it into the front court. Right side, faking on the threes. Consigliano, he goes dish inside Farah, off his hands, out to Bird. Bird's three-pointer's no good. Led with the rebound. Outlet is Takahashi. Head up into the front court, looking for Nelson. Right side, has him. Three, doesn't take it. Instead, tries to get around Bird. Goes to Takahashi, left wing. His three, no good. Could have been partially blocked by Consigliano. Quickly the other way, Cruz in transition. Scoops it up with the left. It's a 10-0 run. The lead is 2 for Jefferson.
And their last 6 points all coming from Cruz. He's just got so much speed, and he is the smallest guy on the floor. When you're that fast, it doesn't matter what size you are.
Oh, led with shot rattles in and out. Tariq Bird pulls down that rebound, and looking to continue this streak is Jefferson.
Final shot of the quarter.
We got 12 seconds remaining here, about 13 seconds remaining here in this first quarter of action. Cruz with the ball, left side. Bird drives inside, dish is knocked away, but ends up in the hands of Caballero. His bucket is good, and this South San Francisco team ends on a 14-0, check that, a 12-0 run to finish out this first quarter. It's a 19-15 lead. We're gonna stay right here at Sequoia after 1 quarter of action. Lots of scoring. We didn't see a lot in the girls' game, a lot more defense. This game, it's been up and down the floor. Neither team pressing, giving themselves a free pass into the front court, and it's led to a lot of offensive action.
And I'm surprised to see Jefferson thriving in this sort of scenario. They want the game to have a score like 19-15 at the half. They love getting games into the 40s, holding teams into the 30s when they can. Carlmont's forced them out of their element between zoning them as well as just getting up the score quickly, getting a few early shots in, and yet, here's Jefferson closing the first on a 12-0 run and taking the lead. While we've got the chance here, worth noting, a couple of Jefferson alums in attendance from last year's team. J.P. Johnson, who was a 2-year starter and 3-year player, right behind the bench supporting his guys, as well as Jovi Diaz. Great inspirational story. He overcame a stroke, got a few minutes and even hit a few baskets in a couple of games last season. He was a rallying figure for the Grizzlies as they reached the CCS Division IV semifinals, their second straight year into the section semifinals.
We are getting ready for the second quarter of action. It's a 19-15 lead. For the Jefferson Indians, champions of the PAL North. Carlmont second in the South. Takahashi will bring the ball into the front court for Carlmont, starting out this second quarter. 4-point lead for Carlmont, rather for Jefferson, on the 14-0 run, ending that first quarter. Bean, long three-pointer straight away, no good. Led with, skying for the rebound, knocked out of his hands by Consigliano. Racing front court, head down, scoop shot, no good. Tip by Caballero, no good. Bird grabs that rebound, his is off, and he's fouled. But Ethan, we've seen it a couple times, 2, 3, 4 opportunities at the hoop by Jefferson. They're taking advantage.
That's what they like to do. They like to scrap, they like to defend, and they love to get dirty in there, and that means second and third chances. This is not a particularly high percentage shooting team, but they make up for it with their aggressiveness and their willingness to hit the boards and cover every inch of the floor with their speed.
First shot off by Bird. Jefferson scoring the final 14 points of that first quarter of action, turning a 15-5 lead, or a 15-7 lead, into a 4-point lead, into a deficit, into a lead. Led with, grabs the rebound after both free throws are missed by Bird. Now Takahashi has the ball knocked out of his hands. They'll go to the top of the key and Bean. He'll start the offense for Carlmont.
Nice to see Ledwith getting a bit more involved, adjusting to Jefferson's physicality. He seems to thrive in against a zone, but not too many chances against a team that's as physical as Jefferson.
Three-pointer by Nelson, no good. And Caballero will bring the ball, get the ball into the hands of Cruz as the MVP brings the ball into the front court. Right side, he's got Bird. 4-point lead, opening moment, second quarter. Jefferson leading Carlmont.
Caravallo really providing good play in the post right now, allowing them to sit Farah for a couple of moments.
Ball in the middle now, left side. Three on the way, Consigliano, no good. Rebound is Ledwith. His outlet is Nelson, Lawan Nelson into the front court. Little shake and bake move. Dish, left side, three on the way, off the mark. Bird, the rebound, accelerates front court, goes right out a couple Scots and manages to hold on to it, waits for some teammates. Left side is Villarreal. He gets the baseline back to the free throw line. Caballero jump shot from 10, no good, draws back iron. And knocking the ball out of the hands of Ledwith was Villarreal. Villarreal gets his second bucket, 21-15. The lead is now 6 for Jefferson as Jimmy Bean has the ball top of the key, long cross-court bounce pass, 2 dribbles and gets to Kennedy, who lets a 3 go. Back iron Ledwith tips the rebound to Cruz. He'll bring it into the front court for Jefferson. Palming, yeah, I was going to say maybe he gets away with palming right there. No, he doesn't. They called him for it. 21-15. The lead is 6 for Jefferson. Carlmont led this game 15-7 at one point. And now we've got a 1-minute timeout here at Sequoia. We are going to take a quick break. It is the PAL tournament on the South City Video Art. 6-point lead. We'll be right back with second quarter action.
Timeout, Carlmont. Scots take a full timeout with 5 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
Usually when Jefferson goes on a big run, it's because they're able to hold teams scoreless for a while, which they have done here, but they've been pretty dynamic offensively as well. Now last Wednesday against Half Moon Bay, when they clinched the North Division title, they held the Cougars scoreless for almost the entirety of the fourth quarter. Here they've held Carlmont scoreless for almost 7 minutes. Scott's last scoring when Lawan Nelson put him up 15-7. Since then, though, Jefferson's really clamped down on the defensive end. And combine that with getting out in transition and spacing the Scots out, finding some holes in the zone, it's allowed them to go on this, what's now a 14-0 run dating back to the midpoint of the first quarter.
If you're Coach Osorio right now, you want to get the ball down low to Ledwith. You need him to either get fouled, get a bucket. You need to stop the run no matter what it takes. Even put the kid on the line. You need to stop this 12-0 run.
And he's a good free throw shooter. He's got to embrace the physical play. Right now, he's not out there. You got Acker and Kennedy in the middle instead, and I like what both of those two offer.
It's Sammy Bean. And now Acker has the ball down low to Kennedy. Ball ends up in the hands of Cruz and Jefferson as he quickly brings it into the front court. He'll slow down and wait for some teammates. Show picks him up just across the timeline.
More good defense from Farah on that last possession. He's really done a good job, and he's only picked up the 1 foul so far. It's been such a huge key for him, staying out of foul trouble.
2-3 zone by Carlmont for most of the game. The pass, dangerous pass inside, looking for Bird, knocked away, but ends up back with Cruz. Penetrates, dish, down low to Daniels, nice. And that makes it 23-15.
Textbook ball movement against the zone. Find the isolated man down low. Takahashi driving baseline here.
Sammy Bean with the ball. Right side, knocked out of his hands by Bird. Bird is going to take it coast to coast the other way. Blocked up top by Kennedy, but it's out of bounds to Jefferson. 8-point lead by the Grizzlies. And it's a 16-0 run now by this Jefferson squad.
And once again, after a turnover, after a Carlmont miss, they're out in transition.
Bird fakes on 3 after the inbounds, goes right at Nelson. Great defense that time by Nelson. Long outlet down the floor, finds Takahashi in transition. Double pump and gets the bucket at the 4:42 mark. 17-23, so it's a 16-0 run when it's all said and done. Ball on the right side, Bird. Now Nelson creates some space up top right at Takahashi. His pass inside knocked away and ends up with Takahashi. He goes into the front court to Kennedy on a pass and around and out.
Ball doesn't lie after he got away with the kick. It was clearly off his foot.
Consigliano with the ball to his left is Nelson. Bird to his right. Farah and Nelson will now switch spots, putting Nelson at the free throw line. He'll pop back out, receive the passes. I think they're going to try to look down low for Brooks Daniels. Consigliano now whips it around right side. Tara has it, and there's Daniels on the low block. In and out of his hands. Nice defense by Nelson, knocked out of it. The loose ball ends up with Acker, and now into the front court is Kennedy. Under 4 minutes left, first half, 6-point lead. Sammy Bean pass inside, stolen. Farah has it. Consigliano left side, and in traffic, he ended up nearly passing it to himself. Instead, he ends up on the out-of-bounds line. That's going to give the ball back to Carlmont. It is a Villarreal now checking back in for J.J. Cruz. 6-point lead for Jefferson. Late first quarter of action. The winner gets the winner of MA and Terra Nova.
A few possessions ago, loved that defense by Nelson, keeping his arms straight upright so he didn't get called for a foul and was able to interrupt the shot.
And steal Farah to Bird, and his shot too hard off the glass. Flying in for the rebound is Acker, and dodging a bullet right there was Carlmont.
Every coach loves a post player that manages to throw himself around like Acker.
Nelson, three-pointer, draws left iron, led with, avoids the over the back, tips the rebound, ends up with Bird, bounce pass to Villarreal in transition, shot off the glass and good. 25-17 now. Acker in transition gets it to Nelson, floater, no good. Rebound ends up with Jefferson. Tariq Bird is winded. However, he will bring the ball into the front court.
Bird usually a ton of energy. Shows you just how hard he's been hustling if he's slowing down a little bit here. Grizzlies have all 5 timeouts. Might want to use one before halftime just to get some fresh legs under him for these final 2.5 minutes.
Consigliano goes left side to Villarreal. Consigliano run the point while Cruz is on the bench. He's getting ready to check back in here in a second. Villarreal, 3 on the way. Back iron, no good. Rebound pulled down. Actually, it's knocked out of bounds off of Jefferson. Carlmont ball. So now Consigliano will take a sit down too. And we got 20-second timeout. It's going to be called by Carlmont. Scott's 10-2 in league, 20-4 overall. And in this one, they had a 10-point lead, 8-point lead at 15-7. A 16-0 run has put Jefferson back on top. At the moment, it's an 8-point lead.
And it's worth noting that 20-4, the 2 league losses are to Menlo Atherton, the 2 other losses to a Stewart Hall team that's on a 15-game win streak, and Churchill County from Nevada. In that Nevada tournament, the Rail City Classic up in Sparks, they also beat Reed, one of the top 10 teams in the entire state of Nevada. These Scots, though, they get stuck in some tight games against teams you'd expect them to blow out, but when they go and face a top opponent, they're right there. And as with that tournament in Reno, they even beat a couple of them.
You know, and what I see that's different from this Scots team than you see in a lot of years is the depth. They've got a lot of bodies that they're bringing off the bench, and they're contributing very well. In the past, it seems like under Pat Smith and Terry Stogner and James Jewett and Dave Lowe, it seems like they can get 2 or 3 good players, but it seems like they got about 7 or 8 guys that can handle the ball right now.
And remember, they're doing that with David Bedrosian, one of the 3-year starters, out sick today.
Yeah, they got guys on the bench. They're a deep team. Into the front court is Nelson, and his shot over Caraballo is no good. Bird quickly the other way, and he'll slow down, wait for teammates as Cruz is back into the game, and he has it knocked out of his hands from behind by Nelson. Goldbeck coming the other way, and Cruz is going to pick up the foul. That was just kind of a, if that was in the pros right there, you get the ball and a free throw. He was really saving the easy bucket, I think. It'll be the 17th foul. I think it was a good foul, and I think that's his second foul. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Goldbeck will go on the line to shoot a 1-and-1 for Carlmont.
Definitely a heads-up play. Tariq Bird, meanwhile, 5 rebounds this quarter, 7 overall. Making an impact even though he hasn't yet found the scoreboard.
Lefty online for the first end of the 1-and-1. It's good.
In a game against Hillsdale where Carlmont's big 3 didn't score much a couple weeks ago, game that Carlmont won by 9 but led by as much as 20. 10 points by the lefty at the line here. Goldbeck were key.
You can hit your free throws. It's enormous towards getting a win. 25-19. Slowly creeping back into this. The lead at one point was 10. Actually, 9 was the highest.
Not bad from beyond the arc either, Goldbeck, although each team has made just 1 3-pointer, and those are in the opening moments.
Consigliano to the right side. Villarreal fakes right, creates some space. 3 on the way, no good. And Grant will pull down the rebound. Goldbeck will bring it into the front court as Sho Takahashi's taking a quick breather. Around far inside, Acker has it. And that's great defense right there by Farah as Acker was just getting ready to pass, and he ends up moving. Farah ends up moving, causes a hesitation. That's traveling.
I have just been really impressed with how Farah's played today. He was a late season call-up last year as a sophomore. Didn't get a ton of time until the postseason when they needed the length in the post. He's really learned how to stay under control, stay out there, and avoid foul trouble. Really impressed with his fundamentals today.
And Caraballo has the ball knocked out of his hands. Nelson will bring it into the front court, led with his check back in. He joins Kennedy down low, along with Burgos and Golbeck. Golbeck with the ball. Left elbow is led with. And turns, fires, no good on the shot. Weak side rebound. Actually, that was Bird who had it. He was trying to throw it off of Scott. Don't know if he was successful. Not, so the ball will remain with Carlmont as now Takahashi comes back in.
Still waiting to see Ledwith really post up, use that frame. He likes being on the elbow. He'd really do some damage if he could just get down low here and there.
With the ball is Nelson. Left side, Golbeck, three-pointer around and out. And Caraballo pulls down the rebound, gets it to Consigliano. He'll bring it into the front court. Cruz sitting down for the moment. 40 seconds remaining here first half. 6-point lead for Jefferson.
We got Brooks Daniels set to sub back in here. I am just so impressed by his size. He looks even bigger when you're right next to him than who's on the floor.
Bird lets a three go. No good. Weak side rebound pulled down by Kennedy. Shot clock off. Carlmont will play for the final shot as Nelson walks it into the front court. Consigliano picks him up. Timeline man-to-man D by Jefferson. Right side Kennedy. He'll take that three. Instead, he'll bring it back out top. They will work on the clock. Now is at 10. Ball right side. Kennedy fakes on the shot. Floater in the lane. No good. Draws back iron. Caraballo the rebound. Gets it to Consigliano late in the first half. And that is exactly how this first half is going to end. 34 points in the first quarter. In the second quarter, not quite as exciting as 14 points were scored in that fourth quarter between both teams. It's a 25-19 lead for Jefferson, a 16-0 run, the big mark that really gave them, put them in a position where they're going to be tough, at least to come back in that first half.
And the way Jefferson held Carlmont down for about 7 minutes there, that's what they like to do. That's how they like to slow teams down. The second quarter was more classic Jefferson basketball. Really started to see them getting into their game plan. They were able to withstand what Carlmont was doing early, go on a run to take the lead, and then they started dictating the pace in true Jefferson Grizzly fashion.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have some stats from the first half of today's game. We'll get you caught up on some other action around the PAL tournament and get ready for the tip to the second, actually, they'll just take it out of bounds, for the second half of tonight's second game. And as I mentioned, we'll get you caught up on all the other tournament actions that can be played here today and tomorrow at Sequoia. You're listening to South City Video Art on the South San Francisco Warriors YouTube channel. We are live from Sequoia High School, the PAL tournament semifinals tonight. And then tomorrow night we will have the championship games of the PAL tournament. 19th year since it was reincarnated back in 2000. Game one played earlier on the girls' side was won by South San Francisco. South San Francisco, the defending champs of this PAL tournament on the girls' side. 41 straight league games won. They are the defending North champion, PAL tournament champion, CCS Division III champion, and they won again today, 52-45 over South San Francisco. The MVP of the league, Becca Tossi, had 13 points, 16 rebounds, and 6 blocks in the wins. Alex Solis had 12 points. Natividad had 13 points, 9 assists for Solis. She really did it all for Aragon as well. Lydia Manu, who was a first-team All-Leaguer junior for the Aragon Dons, she led the way for the Dons with 18 in the loss. Aragon's next game will be in the CCS playoffs, whereas South San Francisco's next game will be tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. They'll tip it up here right at Sequoia in the PAL Tournament Championship game. It'll be South San Francisco's third straight appearance, losing 2 years ago to Menlo Atherton, and then last year, South San Francisco was able to come away with the win in the championship game. South San Francisco, tomorrow night in that game will play the winner of Sequoia and Terra Nova. They'll tip that game up about 6 o'clock right here on the South City YouTube channel. Also tonight, Menlo Atherton will be playing Terra Nova on the boys' side. That game will tip up about 7:30. The winner of that game will play the winner of the game we are at halftime of now on the boys' side. It is Jefferson leading Carlmont 25-19. Breaking out in this one was Carlmont. They had led 15-7 midway through the first quarter. A 10-0 run put them with that 8-point lead. However, Jefferson doubled it. A 16-0 run by the Grizzlies put them up by a score of 23-15. Pretty even the rest of the way. Actually cutting into that lead a little bit would be Carlmont. At the half, it's now a 25-19 lead for Jefferson. And for stats from that first half of action, we'll turn things over to Ethan Castle.
Jefferson really spreading out the scoring. 7 points for Luis Villarreal, 6 apiece for Brooks Daniels and J.J. Cruz. Tariq Bird yet to score, but he's got 3 assists. He's also got 6 rebounds. Kareem Caraballo 4 rebounds with his 2 points. On Carlmont's end, the lead scorer across both teams is Sho Takahashi. He's got 8. 6 of those came in the first quarter. Lawan Nelson also with 4. One thing Jefferson would love to do better is get to the free throw line. Although Carlmont's zone defense definitely a factor, they've attempted just 2 shots at the line and missed them both. Meanwhile, Carlmont 6 for 9 at the line. Decent showing there, but it's Jefferson up by 6 after controlling the boards during that 14-0 run, getting out in transition, and really putting a vice-like grip on the game for about a solid 7-minute stretch.
You know, and there are key moments during runs where you can see how it happens. For Carlmont, they missed a couple free throws. I know that's not a big deal, but it's right in the middle of a 16-0 run. Maybe it's only an 8-2 run, and Carlmont gets back into the flow of things. They weren't able to make the points there. It turns into a 16-0 run. Now, really, the Carlmont Scots, they're only down 6 to this Jefferson team, but this Jefferson team gets out, they run, and they are good. It's going to be, even though it's only 6, it's going to be tough in the second half. Carlmont is not an aggressive defensive team. They don't create turnovers on defense. They get into the 2-3 zone, and they just keep you away. They keep you off the boards. They box out, they get the ball. So it's a little bit more difficult to come back in that kind of situation. However, this team has been dynamite this year. And as you mentioned, the only 2 league losses are to a Menlo Atherton squad that's undefeated and just dynamite.
Yes, Carlmont, you know, I've seen them go man against other teams. I think zone is optimal to force Jefferson, which is not a great 3-point shooting team, to the outside. True to form, the Grizzlies made just 1 3. It was Luis Villarreal in the opening moments. They've still been able to penetrate that zone and get in transition, though, so perhaps the Scots might have to consider going to man in the second half. Interesting to see how these first 2-3 minutes of the second half play out. I think these opening moments will be really telling.
Brooks Daniels, Marquise Consignano, Luis Villarreal, J.J. Cruz, and Saif Farah will get this nod for Jefferson as they're on the floor. I'm going to wait 2 seconds. Carlmont actually not on the floor yet in case there's any differences. Nelson, Kennedy, Grant Acker, as well as Sho Takahashi and Sammy Bean will get the start for Carlmont in the second half. And for the play-by-play action, we will turn it over to Ethan Castle.
Yes, John, as you mentioned, it'll be Kennedy and Acker getting the second half opening minutes here instead of Burgos, instead of Ledwith. Carlmont is staying in the 2-3 zone with Acker in the middle. They've got Costignano driving baseline for the Grizzlies. Villarreal takes the pass from in the corner, gets to the lane and scores through contact. He hits the deck, no foul, but no matter. He's got the bucket. Jefferson up 27-19. Back across center, Lawan Nelson, where he's quickly met by Costignano. Into the corner, Sammy Bean. To Kennedy in the middle, kicks to Nelson. Nelson on the wing, three-pointer off balance, back iron, and it's Villarreal hitting the boards for Jefferson. Villarreal really bulked up these last couple years, really put on a lot of muscle and really become an effective player. J.J. Cruz brings it into the front court along with Villarreal and Costignano. They all transferred from Westmore after their sophomore year. Costignano had already started for 2 years for the Rams. Also coming over because Jefferson offers football, Westmore does not. And here Jefferson's got a double-digit lead. Brooks Daniels inside from Saif Farah plus the foul. Foul is going to be on Lawan Nelson. That will be his first. More importantly, though, it's Daniels putting the Grizzlies up their largest lead of the day at 29-19 and a chance to extend it to 11.
Boy, you go back
to the line.
You go back a few years to 2013. You had Wayman and Errol Fernandez and just a dominant Westmore team under Herb Yaptinchi. He can't hold on to the kids like he used to. You can't lose 3 starters and expect to play against the other teams.
Westmore's still been competitive. They've pushed Half Moon Bay to the brink during the Cougars' dominant run. Sammy Bean trying a 3 on the wing, and he hits it. Carlmont finally ending the run. Lawan Nelson with an assist. Bean for 3 to cut it to 7 again. And that's a huge bucket for the Scots to avoid getting trapped in one of those long scoreless droughts again.
Huge.
You mentioned Coach Yapinche. He is the league rep for the PAL. He'll be representing all the CCS-bound teams in the seeding meeting. No-look pass from Cruz to Villarreal. He works it down low. Farah, amidst contact, can't get the roll. Bean, the defensive rebound, as Bean has really stepped up physically on defense. He's not just an outside shooter, and it's his versatility that's helping the Scots here. He is a pretty good outside shooter, though, as right away, he knocks down another 3 from Nelson on the assist, and all of a sudden, 29-25. Couple of outside shots for Carlmont. They hit just 1 3 in the first half. They've woken up here, and they trail by just 4. Costignano on the wing, kicking to Villarreal, left corner. Villarreal defended by Nelson, 0 on 0. Cruz into the lane, trying to slip to Farah. Farah recovers as Kennedy takes a spill. They've got to use the man advantage there, but they can't as Kennedy recovers and gets back to his feet. Cruz driving through the lane, trying to kick to Daniels. Defended by Nelson. Jefferson wants a foul, but instead they're going to call the jump ball, and that's going to give possession to Carlmont. The Scots trailing by just 4. And with some stout defense and a couple of 3-pointers by Bean, they have turned this game around in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, you start hitting some 3-pointers, you can catch up real quick as Bean brings it up into the front court against the pressure.
Costignano and Cruz the key to that pressure. Takahashi kicking to Bean. In the corner, Nelson to the left side. On the far end, Kennedy into the lane. Kennedy looking for the roll. He gets it plus the foul.
The old-fashioned 3-point play coming up for Carlmont.
Foul will be Brooks Daniels, his second. Jefferson picked up 6 fouls in the first quarter, but got called for just 1 in the second, so nobody with more than 2 fouls for the Grizzlies. More importantly, though, Carlmont's on an 8-0 run, and Kennedy has a chance to bring it to 9 here. Free throw on the way, front iron no good. Acker goes in for the rebound, but gets called for going over the back. That'll turn possession to Jefferson.
And gets called for going in a little aggressively. They will get you for that.
Refs have also tightened up on lane violations this year, seen far more of those called this season than in the past. Definitely a point of emphasis among the officials this year. Jefferson will start off. Carlmont not pressing as they're sticking with the 2-3 zone to force the Grizzlies to the outside. Cruz brings it through center to Costignano. Costignano with Takahashi defending on him, extending his arms as best he can to make up for a bit of a size disadvantage. Cruz is defended by Bean. He loves to throw one-hand passes, and Villarreal, who received that pass, got called for a travel before he could send it back to Cruz. Bird going to come in for Villarreal. 5:05 left in the third as Jefferson's seen the lead drop to just 2. Bird, like we said earlier, couple of assists and 6 rebounds in the first half. He did not score, but he made his impact felt. 3 assists, in fact. And they're going to need his defense as Carlmont has heated up from the outside, largely because of Sammy Bean. Takahashi carries it into the front court now. Into the corner for Nelson. Nelson to Kennedy at the free throw line, looking for the tie, no good. Ball tipped around, rebound. Daniels had a hand on it, but it went out of bounds, and Daniels, unfortunately, was the last one to touch it. He outmuscles the man, but not able to secure the ball. Keeps possession with Carlmont. Chance for the Scots to tie. Nelson looking for a man to inbound to. Jefferson defending that well. Costignano intercepts. The Grizzlies know Carlmont's inbound plays, and they get the turnover at it. Cruz the other way, that's no good, but the rebound comes to Costignano. He can't connect, and it's Kennedy on the rebound. Takahashi leading it back the other way. Jefferson knows exactly what Carlmont's going to run. John Falabella, head coach, an avid film studier. He's got at least 4 games of film on every league opponent. Cruz with the steal, but the loose ball comes to Takahashi. Chance to tie. Back iron. Bird got his body in the way, and though he didn't make any contact, he was still able to interfere with the attempt to finish. Cruz brings it to the front court, dribbling a circle around everybody, and takes it out to the beak of that midcourt logo, the Raven. The teams here at Sequoia called the Cherokees, but the Raven is their logo. Sort of like the tree is the logo, even though Stanford's teams are called the Cardinal. Costignano with Farah as Jefferson slows down. Farah into the lane to Cruz by the elbow. Cruz, pull up, no good. Needed that one, but it's off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Nelson, who stretches to Takahashi. Takahashi, contact from Bird, no call. Daniels able to get the rebound. Bird with full speed back the other way. Has to now wait for his teammates to catch up as they were outnumbered. Cruz will settle out by the volleyball lines.
2 transition opportunities for Carlmont to tie this game up.
Cruz defended by Takahashi, gives to Bird on the wing. Takahashi will slide over there. Bird kicks to Villarreal, left corner. That was Costignano, rather. That's a 3. That's a huge one for momentum. It's good, and with that, Jefferson will call a timeout, back up by 5 with 3:24 left in the third.
That is a big bucket right there, as we've seen Carlmont slowly creeping back into this. They went on an 8-0 run of their own. A big 3 right there. It's a 5-point lead. Winner of this game is going to play the winner of Menloata and Terra Nova. That game about 7:30. They'll tip it up here from Sequoia High School. And as much as I love people watching the game on the YouTube channel live, if you come down to Sequoia, great basketball will be played here. The rest of this evening, they'll have the championship games tomorrow nights. I mean, there have been some absolutely classic championship games. I think you were talking about last year's championship game on the girls' side.
Last year on the girls' side, South City with a late win over Menlo Atherton. 2 years ago when the tournament was at Hillsdale, the Sequoia MA game was won for the ages. Sequoia winning that one 68-65. I love John Falabella calling that 30-second timeout back to this game. You see a lot of coaches call timeouts when they're on the receiving end of a bad run. Jefferson was on the receiving end of an 8-0 run. You could have called what I like to refer to as a panic button timeout there. Instead, they waited until they restored a bit of momentum with the basket. And that's big just for communication and the kids' body language and mentality. Then you take the timeout with the kids a little more confident. Back in the front court now, Goldbeck fresh off the bench, along with Nelson and Burgos. Burgos handles the free throw line, kicks to Takahashi in the corner, gets around Cruz, step back 3, rattles around and out. Costignano on the defensive glass. He's going to play at least 30 minutes today. You rarely see him sit. Just a tireless worker on a team full of guys that like to run. Their practices basically turn into track meets, but also very physical. Tariq Bird gets an open look from the wing, and that's good! Huge 3 for Bird. Jefferson by 8. So the Grizzlies needing to restore momentum, and sure enough, they get the back-to-back 3-pointers they were so desperately pining for. Goldbeck and Takahashi working it outside for Carlmont. Nelson in the corner. And while he's known for his drives to the hoop, he hits a 3, cuts it to 35-30.
I feel like we're in an NBA game. It's nothing but 3-pointers.
And it's not like both teams just thrive on outside shooting. It just shows how versatile these teams are. Farah in the lane. And I've just been so satisfied with the way he's played today. Putting up a 3 and missing is Cruz, but the rebound to Caraballo. He's called for a travel. Would have had a chance in the lane as he managed to outmuscle Ledwith, who's got at least a couple inches on him, and probably more than a couple. Caraballo's got big hair that makes him look an inch or 2 taller than he is. Sammy Bean jumping back in for Takahashi. So for Carlmont, it's Nelson, Bean, Burgos, Goldbeck, and Ledwith. Scots wanted to get in another sub, Kennedy, but they couldn't before play resumed. Nelson defended by Bird. And because the shot clock didn't start on time, Carlmont is going to be able to get that sub.
You mentioned it earlier about what Coach Falabala said about Tariq Bird. He is a high-energy guy. He is on the ball. Who has the ball, if it's his man, he is on top of him. Every pass is contested. Every time you try to break free, it's contested.
He stands out as a high-energy guy on a team full of them.
That's
easy to see what a dominant defensive back he is on the football field. Carlmont trying to use their sizes. Kennedy gets it down low to Ledwith, but the little guy, Cruz, out-muscles him and takes it away. Cruz to Costignano. In the lane, Costignano the finish. That's 2 assists for Cruz this quarter as he does a little bit of everything. And he's able to make up for the size differential. Still waiting to see Ledwith really attack. Nelson's going to throw up another 3 and hit again. He's feeling it. Cuts it to 37-33. Scots are going to take a timeout here. Looks like just a 30-second break. So we'll stay right here. Wanted to mention, you talked about that Menlo Atherton team that you'll see later. They don't have anyone over 6'3", and yet they're so fundamentally smooth. You'll see when they run set plays, much like Jefferson, they always get the look they want out of it. You'll see just how methodical that team is, as well as Jefferson. You can see why when MA and Jefferson link up, as they did last year in non-league play, this year in non-league play, they meet every December. See why it's such a tight game. Teams that really know each other's abilities, know their set plays, coaches that know each other.
Well, you talk about teams not being necessarily tall. You don't need to be tall. We're talking PAL basketball right now. Going to the state championship 20 years ago, 25 years ago was the Hillsdale Knights under Bill Wilkin. 6'2", 6'1" across the front for that Hillsdale team. They ran into the Collins brothers, who would later go to Stanford in the state championship game, which they lost.
Cappuccino, when they made it in 1996 under Pete Haramis, they didn't have anyone over 6'4", and they lost to LA Power Verbum Day by just 1 point, something Haramis talked about extensively during his time coaching at Burlingame. Speaking of undersized, Cruz into the lane. He draws the double, and he gets it to Caraballo. More work for J.J. Cruz, his 3rd assist this quarter. Nelson across center once again, hounded by Bird. He can handle that pressure, though. A lot of guards in this league would collapse under just how tight Bird defends. Nelson able to handle it. Pass tipped away by Cruz, but it's going to go into a vacant corner of the court and out of bounds. Sequoia will keep the ball. I will say, though, it doesn't hurt to have size. You know, at Burlingame, when we had Nick Lowe for 4 years, started off as a 6'6" freshman, ended up about 6'7" or 6'8". Doesn't hurt to have guys with the size if they know how to use it and know how to assert themselves in the post. Sammy Bean handling it for Carlmont now. Kennedy in the corner looking for Acker inside, who plays much bigger than his 6'3" frame. Nelson defended by Bird again. Nelson in the lane, gets off the floater and hits. Boy, Lawan Nelson rising to the challenge. Seems like the better defense, the better and better defense Bird puts on him, the more Nelson's been able to score. It's ridiculous.
That's frustrating. It's frustrating if you're a defender, but you just got to realize you're doing what you need to do.
Jefferson going to run this thing down. There's a differential of less than a second between the shot clock and the game clock, and they'll get the final shot of the 3rd quarter, barring a turnover. Chance to extend this 4-point lead. Cruz kicks to Farah. Farah able to drive, not just post up. His shot no good front iron. Carlmont will have about 6 seconds to work with. Nelson getting it through center. Final moments, he'll fire up another 3 as he's been feeling it, but this one, he had to get it off quickly. It's well short, and the quarter ends with Jefferson clinging to a 39-35 lead over Carlmont. A lot of momentum shifts in the 3rd quarter. Saw the Scots go on an 8-0 run. Saw Jefferson answer with an 8-3 spurt. Good basketball back and forth. This one has absolutely delivered on the height.
Absolutely, and really right there as we head to the 4th quarter play, J.J. Cruz nearly picked up a foul on that 3-pointer. It was a well-defended 3-pointer. He shouldn't have been anywhere near Lawan Nelson when he shot it. I would venture to say that a referee from a different angle might have called that a foul. That would have been a 3-pointer instead of a 4-point lead heading into the 4th quarter for Jefferson. It would have been less. I think maybe they avoid one right there, and Cruz avoids his 3rd foul also, which would have brought them a little bit of trouble. 4-point lead for Jefferson here heading into the 4th quarter over Carlmont. Winner gets the winner of Sequoia and Terra Nova. Those 2 teams will hook it up. Check that. The winner of this game will play the winner of MA and Terra Nova on the boys' side. That's the final game of our quadruple header here tonight. And then that championship game will be tomorrow night right back here at Sequoia at 7:45.
just a quick little reset on the action today. South City's girls 52-45 win over Aragon, in which they led by as much as 18. They advance to the championship against the winner of our upcoming game between Terra Nova and the host Sequoia Cherokees on the girls' side. On the boys' side, one more quarter here between Jefferson and Carlmont, and then the 7:30 tip-off between Menlo Atherton and Terra Nova. Jefferson looking to extend the lead as the fourth quarter begins. Kennedy cuts in the way of a pass from Bird.
And interesting, J.J. Cruz did start this fourth quarter.
Probably just, I think it's not about his foul trouble. It's about just give him a minute to rest so that he comes back on the floor. Probably check in sometime between the 7 and 6 minute mark, and then be ready to go full head of steam for the fourth. Villarreal kicks it out to Costagnano, handles along the volleyball line. Bird again on the wing. He's not going to try to repeat that near turnover he had a few moments ago. Tries to get it to Caraballo despite some good defense by Takahashi. Pop and shoot, no good, and the rebound goes out off Jefferson as Bird missed a three-point attempt. Carlmont ball, trailing by just 4. Seen a lot of Jake Kennedy in the second half. He missed that loss to Menlo Atherton a couple weeks ago with concussion-like symptoms. The first guy off the bench, and the guy Coach Ron Osorio describes as his toughest player. Takahashi dribbling to the corner, taking it himself and hitting. Carlmont trails by just 1 as Takahashi has heated up.
Oh, just no effort with that release. Didn't even realize he was going to shoot it until it was on its way.
Looked like he was just driving baseline to try to open something up. Very casual, but able to get the shot he wanted. Villarreal defended by Nelson. Back to Costagnano. He's got to deal with Takahashi again. Comes to a stop in the lane. Caraballo from the free throw line. Not his usual area. No good, but Brooks Daniels the rebound. Put back try no good, and then a foul that I believe will be on Caraballo. Sort of an inadvertent over the back, and in fact, that is the foul that's called as Cruz is going to check back in.
You know, it doesn't matter. You don't need to touch somebody to be called for over the back. If from one angle a referee sees you go over someone's back, you're going to get that one every time. He's surprised he got it. I don't think many other people are.
Agreed, and Cruz comes back in with 6:49 to go, even a little sooner than I anticipated. Kind of on a need-based situation here as they trail by, as Carlmont trails by just a point. Kennedy inside Takahashi for the lead, no good, and he is fouled by Cruz. So maybe Cruz got away with a foul at the end of the third quarter. Only a little bit of contact, but he gets dinged for it this time, and Takahashi will go to the line. 1 to tie, 2 to give Carlmont the lead.
Takahashi can give the Carlmont Stars the lead here. Amazingly enough, they've come all the way back. They were trailing by as many as 8 in this one at 27-19.
Lead even grew to 10 for a moment, and he does indeed convert both free throws. 6:34 left. Carlmont leading for the first time since midway through the first quarter. It's J.J. Cruz into the corner. Costagnano looking to put Jefferson right back on top. Good look, but no good, and it's Acker on the rebound. A couple of Carlmont's players maybe haven't delivered in the post physically the way their frame suggests they could, but Acker absolutely has today. I really like what he's done. It'll be Nelson trying a 3 to give him a 2-possession lead, and he is unconscious. That is his third three-pointer of the second half. Lawan Nelson is feeling it, and Carlmont is up by 4, 43-39. Jefferson looking to answer right away. Tariq Bird, that one short. Rebound, Takahashi. Takahashi really playing one of his stronger games here. Nelson will slow things up. Kick to Takahashi.
In a game of runs, 10-0 run for the Scots.
Good little move by Nelson with his internal clock, realizing, hey, let's slow this up for a moment. So it's going to be an empty possession as they travel. Ledwith's going to come in here and collect, I believe, Kennedy. Additionally, as you look at Nelson's 3 again, that is, like we said, his third three-pointer. He is feeling it. Jefferson brings Farah back in.
And it was a 4-point lead for Jefferson starting out the fourth. They have yet to score. They now trail by 4.
They've still got 5.5 minutes to work with. No need to get desperate and start throwing up shots. Need to just look for good shots. Look for what you've been going for all game. What you can't have are too many turnovers, as Costagnano gave it up the lane. Acker knocked it loose. Ledwith knocks it away, takes it himself, and it's Takahashi bringing it back across center with Sammy Bean. Acker defended by Daniels. Back to Acker. He's going to try to post up his man from out high, ends up kicking to Takahashi. Takahashi to Bean. Bean in the corner where Acker awaits. Acker tries to swing it inside for Nelson for Ledwith, but threw it over him. Costignano defending that. Costignano back the other way across the timeline. Farah wants the ball behind him. Instead, he's going to hand it off to Cruz. Cruz will take it by the top of the arc with Bean staring him down.
As everybody looks over at Coach Falabella for instructions.
He's got that play-calling band on his wrist, sort of like a football coach. They're going to get a three-pointer out of this, but it's no good. Costignano the try, Ledwith the rebound.
Great position inside by Ledwith.
Ledwith hasn't done much offensively, but he's been present on the glass. He sets a high screen while the ball goes to Acker on the left side. Back to Bean on the top of the arc. Carlmont getting set to sub once again. Nelson on the right. Kicks to Takahashi again. Takahashi's going to have to deal with Cruz, who gets into an even lower crouch than he would be standing upright. And he's not that big standing upright to begin with. Takahashi has it poked out by Farah. It'll go out off Jefferson, 8 on the shot clock.
You know, I think if you're Carlmont, you got to get the ball in the hands of Lawan Nelson. He's hot.
Absolutely. 3 3-pointers in the second half. He's going to stay in while they sub out Acker and Bean. Goldbeck back onto the floor, along with Kennedy. Inbound to Ledwith with 7. Ledwith going to try to post up here. And he does it with authority, scoring over Farah. I'd love to see more of that out of Ledwith. He's clearly got the ability. Would love to see him really assert himself inside.
There's a reverse pivot in the low block. It's impressive.
10-0 Carlmont in the fourth quarter, 45-39 Scots. In fact, they trailed 39-33 before Nelson got the last points of the third. J.J. Cruz draws a foul with 3:37 to go. It'll be just the third of the half on Carlmont. This one on the floor. Foul is going to be to Abram Goldbeck.
It's been a game of runs. 10-0 by Carlmont, 16-0 by Jefferson, now 10-0 by Carlmont, 12-0 by Carlmont.
Do the Grizzlies have another run in him? Well, Bird tried to start one there, but it gets swatted out of the way of the net by Ledwith. It'll go out and stay with Jefferson. Still 29 on the shot clock as it reset a few moments ago on that foul. Both teams with just 3 fouls this half, so they'll be able to manipulate the clock, really micromanage things. Jefferson also has 4 timeouts left, whereas Carlmont has 2. So it's not like the Grizzlies have to get into endgame mode just yet. Farah runner, no good. Nelson rebound. Jefferson is going to have to at least snap this funk offensively at some point, though. It's been going on for a while now.
That's good defense by Carlmont right there.
Nelson in the lane, draws a double. Gets Abram Goldbeck open on the wing. 3, and that may be the dagger. Timeout Jefferson. Falabella wanted a travel called. He does not get it. Jefferson is in a 9-point hole with 3:03 to go. 48-39 Carlmont. The Scots are outscoring the Grizzlies 15-0 in the fourth quarter.
We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the final 3 minutes of action here from Sequoia. It's a 9-point lead for the Carlmont Scots over the Jefferson Indians on the South City Video Network. Just 3 minutes remain here in game 1 on the boys' side. It's first place from the North Jefferson, second place from the South Carlmont, and it's at the moment, it is a 12-0 run for, check that, it is a 15-0 run for this, but encompassing the 2 quarters for Carlmont as we get back to live action.
12-0 this quarter for the Scots. Jefferson going to have to break momentum in a hurry, or else the Grizzlies are going to have the day off tomorrow. They do not want that. They want to get this thing in. They want to be in the second straight year in the PAL championship. They're going to need some buckets fast. Villarreal defended well by Takahashi. Corner 3 attempt on the way from Cruz. They absolutely had to have that, and they get it. Costignano with the assist. Cruz with the corner 3, and it's back down to 6. Villarreal defending Kennedy. Cruz trying to double him, but Kennedy gets through it. Carlmont has numbers. Kennedy, Nelson inside. Nelson scores again.
I think Lawan Nelson wants to be all tournament.
I think he's earned that so far today. This has been one of the best games I've seen out of him. I've seen him run into some trouble against Menlo Atherton, but he looks good today. He's shooting well from the outside, and as always, he gets to the hoop. When that outside shot falls, he's on the next level. Cruz handling it here. Gets it down low, a no-look pass. Great work to find Villarreal. Jefferson once again cuts it to 6, but the Grizzlies need a few stops. Acker defended by Bird. Nearly traveled. Gets away, though, and now he's going to be tied up by Villarreal. Well, is it going to be a jump ball or a foul? The refs are going to have to confer.
I don't think they were thinking it was a foul. He went over and back. His foot went a good 3 feet across the timeline, and then he jumped back. And everybody's, and it was at the same time. There could have been some contact. There could have been some dragging, but definitely the coaches noticed that he got a little over that line.
He didn't bring his full body across, though. Villarreal ends up getting called with a foul out of this. He's rather surprised by that. Just his 3rd foul after picking up 2 barely 3 minutes in. Acker gets it down low and scores. Carlmont by 8 again. And Jefferson just hasn't been able to get that much-needed stop. Costignano is fouled. Will they call this one going up? Yes, indeed. He will be heading to the line for 2. But now all of a sudden, Jefferson's in need of a couple of stops. Usually they're just in need of some points, as they were for most of this 4th quarter. Now, though, they're in need of stepping it up on the defensive end again. Foul is going to be on Kennedy. 1:39 to go. Costignano with 2 free throws to try to cut into this 8-point Carlmont lead, as the Scots have just turned it on in the 4th quarter. First free throw rattles around and goes in. I believe that was actually just the first foul on Kennedy, and he's been out there much of the game, but he's been able to avoid foul trouble. 1 shot remaining for Marquez Costignano. Daniels getting set to check back in for the Grizzlies. Costignano hits both. Daniels will come in, and he will collect Villarreal, looks like. Jefferson needing a turnover, a stop, or some missed free throws, though. Carlmont still a couple fouls for being in the bonus. Both teams with 4 fouls. Nelson doubled in the backcourt, gets it free to Bean. He has Goldbeck down low, but realizes it too late for Goldbeck to get a shot off. Goldbeck ends up kicking that out to Takahashi, and Costignano nearly poked it away, but got called for the reach-in.
That's pretty good defense right there by Costignano.
Look of relief on Takahashi's face, knowing he might have gotten a little help to get out of a sticky situation there. Jefferson going to take timeout here with 1:26 left. That's only Costignano's first foul, so they don't have to worry about him giving fouls. It'll be a full timeout called for the Grizzlies with 1:26 left. While we've got a moment, camera caught a shot of San Mateo Daily Journal's Terry Bernal during one of the breaks. They will be working tirelessly these couple days. They've got to meet pretty early deadlines, and they'll be providing extensive coverage of the tournament. Get my coverage as well on prep2prep.com, as well as a few other outlets, I'm sure. Probably see Palo Alto online here to cover Menlo Atherton as the night goes on. Very well-traveled in the season journalist for them, Glenn Reeves. Right now, John Falabella in the huddle talking it over with his team. They've got one more foul to give. 1:26 to go. Carlmont has a fresh 35 on the shot clock after that last foul on Costignano. Jefferson's going to need either a couple misses or a couple of turnovers. 6 points in a minute 26 is doable, but it's not like you're going to be able to do it all by yourself. You're going to need at least a little bit of help the other way. They're going to need Carlmont to slip up in some fashion, and the way Lawan Nelson has played lately, that is much easier said than done to create a couple of mistakes from the Scots.
And Cruz is shooting 35% from distance this year. They're going to need him to hit something far.
He's got one from the corner this quarter. Nelson inbounds to Takahashi, who's doubled by Farah and Bird, up ahead to Bean. Bean to Nelson. Nelson will hesitate, drop it back to Takahashi out by the center circle, and now Bean can hold. Get this down to 20 on the shot clock. Physical defense from Daniels, but no foul. Nelson kicks, open Goldbeck, back out to Takahashi. They're really just intent on milking the clock. Sammy Bean from the right wing with 14 on the shot clock. No good. Kennedy offensive rebound, and that's gotta kill you if you're wearing Jefferson blue and gold. You force the miss, but then you give up the offensive rebound.
You know, and if you're Coach Osorio, I think you're looking up the clock saying, there's 12 seconds left. Well, why are we shooting right now? It's an open shot, but really time is of the essence now. That is your ally. You want to use as much as you can. If you're wide open for a layup, you shoot it, but a three-pointer, maybe not.
Takahashi has it off the inbound, and he will be fouled by Bird, who is going for the steal, and that will put the Scots in the bonus with 56.9 to go. Foul is on Tariq TQ Bird.
And we're going to be here for a little bit. It's a 6-point game, and I have a feeling that unless Carlmont can somehow extend it to 10, we're going to see a few more fouls as Jefferson tries to elongate this game and just creep back in it with a couple big shots.
And they definitely have the ability to do that, but they're going to need a couple of missed free throws or something as Takahashi nails the first. He'll have one more. Shooting 1 to earn 2, as some PA announcers like to say. One more here. Takahashi nails it. 54-46, 56.9 left. It is going to be tough to engineer a comeback now. Cruz does a good job waiting for the defensive pressure to come before touching the ball to start the clock. He spins into the lane. Farah now driving off the pass, kicks to Bird. 3 from the top of the arc. Front iron, no good. Out of bounds. Sure looked like it was off of Farah, but Jefferson will get the benefit of the doubt on this one. And the way some of the 50-50 calls have gone in this game, nice to see it even out a bit. Grizzlies get a fresh inbound. They're going to get that corner 3 attempt from Cruz, and he hits it. There you go. You said they needed a couple threes from Cruz. They get one here. 54-49 with 39.5 seconds remaining. Timeout Jefferson.
Game 1 on the boys' side coming down to the final minutes here. I should say final minute. We just have 40 seconds remaining, and a 5-point game. It's going to take some doing for Jefferson to come out of here with a win. But Carlmont, boy, they really withstood an amazing run by Jefferson. A 16-0 run. Didn't lose their head. It led to a 10-point lead, but Carlmont was able to get that down to 4 heading into this fourth quarter, and then part of a 15-0 run bridging the third and fourth quarters. They've been able to keep Jefferson at a distance. Very impressive the way they've been able to do it. You know, a lot of times you see a team who presses constantly throughout the game. I think that's why we saw the Aragon game get a little closer. It wears the other team down. That's when usually you see these big fourth quarter comebacks or lengthening a lead. Carlmont hasn't played like that. Carlmont sat back in their 2-3 zone, yet they've had the energy to make something happen late.
Well, they've had a couple of big sequences. After getting down by 10 early in the third, back-to-back threes by Sammy Bean, and after Jefferson got the lead back up to 8, Lawan Nelson hits a couple of threes as he really started to get going. And that's why Carlmont's been able to take this lead, even with David Bedrosian out sick today. Nelson to inbound. 39.5 to go. He gets it into Takahashi. Bird to quickly pressure, and Bird gets called for the foul.
And it looks like Jefferson, at least this time, they're going to come out with man-to-man full-court pressure. Be interesting to see how many different full-court press looks they have. You could have a 2-2-1, you could have a 2-1-2, you could have a 3-1-1, you could have man-to-man. Lots of different ways. The advantage of having a man-to-man press at this point of the game, down by 5, is you should have a hand on the ball almost instantly to create a foul if you can't get that steal.
And Bird nearly had it, but Takahashi did a great job shielding himself, shielding the ball. That's why he's at the line for 1-and-1, and he'll be at the line for a second as he hits the first free throw.
And you can bet your bottom dollar Coach Falabella knows exactly who he wants on the free throw line. Maybe he might not have got who he wanted, but he knows, and I'm sure he's letting his kids know.
Yes, Takahashi would probably not be the one you want to send to the line. He is 6 of 6 this quarter. Carlmont is back up by 7. Costaniano into the front court quickly. Jefferson's got to hurry. Kicks it out. Cruz, 3, top of the yard. This one no good, back iron. Nelson the rebound. He is fouled. And with a 7-point lead and under 30 seconds to go, he's got to be pretty confident that he will be playing tomorrow night.
And for the Carlmont Scots, if you're talking about Carlmont playing in a championship game in this tournament, I'm going to do some studying, but I do not think that has ever happened.
I know it happened. They reached the semifinals in 2010, but then were absolutely suffocated by Jeff Dowd's Burlingame team. That year the tournament was held at El Camino. Nelson misses a free throw, and it's Kennedy bailing him out with the offensive rebound.
And a very aggressive foul right there, taking Kennedy out of bounds by Tariq Bird.
At that point, you kind of have to. You got to really sell out at this point for everything. Risk it to get the biscuit, as some kids might say. The refs are going to talk this over, though.
At the same time, it's a 7-point lead with 20 seconds left in the game. There's a point where you say, hey, we're going to play another day. Let's show good sportsmanship. Even if it's the last game of your career, you represent yourself, you represent your school.
There was no malice behind it, though, which is one of the reasons the refs decided to just give the common foul. They discussed it for a moment, ended up settling on just the normal foul, where Kennedy will shoot two as Carlmont is in the double bonus and in prime position to play tomorrow night in the PAL Championship, which will be at 7:45. First free throw is good by Kennedy, and it's an 8-point lead.
Now, since the recreation of the PAL tournament, this is the first time Carlmont has played in a championship game.
Pretty amazing what Ron Osorio's done in just a couple years. 20 seconds to go after Kennedy makes his second free throw. It's 58-49. Cruz through the lane. He's fouled by Kennedy. 17 and a half to go. And the outcome all but in the bag for Carlmont. Cruz will go to the line here, but Jefferson's going to need to find a genie.
Yeah, the final score, the only thing in doubt in game one on the boys' side. Game two on the girls' side coming up in a little bit. It's going to be Sequoia and Terra Nova. Then the winner of that game will play South City in tomorrow night's championship on the girls' side.
Head coach Ron Osorio for Carlmont is familiar with the girls. He assisted on Mike Ciardella's teams at Sacred Heart Prep that had a whole string of state championship runs. He is very familiar with the local scene. Took about a nearly 15-year break from coaching as he began to raise his family. He's back now, and he has made an instant impact at Carlmont. Scott's putting up one of their best years in nearly the last 20 in just his second year at the helm. Cruz missed his first free throw, makes his second. Couple of subs here. Carlmont by 8, 17 and a half to go. And as you mentioned, John, at this point, only the final score in question. Quite a transformation as Carlmont held to 19 points early in the third quarter, and they really broke out from there.
And yeah, it's a very impressive victory here for this Carlmont team. This Carlmont team is very deep, and they showed it here tonight.
And again, I've hammered the point home. They're playing without maybe their most well-rounded of the three-year starters, David Bedrosian, who can do a little bit of everything. But Nelson, Takahashi, and a couple of huge shots from Bean and some strong rebounding from Grant Acker and Jake Kennedy been enough to get them through this one, plus a couple of key plays by Ben Ledwith. 2 free throws for Sammy Bean. He knocks down the first.
So Carlmont will be playing in their first PAL tournament championship game since the 84-85 season, when they knocked off Mills 40-33 in a championship game played at Hillsdale.
Those are the pre-shot clock days. 2 free throws by Kennedy.
Those are pre-3-pointers.
Bean pulls down the rebound, and now he can just run out the clock. Carlmont is headed to the PAL championship for the first time in more than 30 years. 60-50 your final as the Scots put up 25 points in the fourth quarter.
That would be Keith Stamps and the Pryor brothers that led that Carlmont team. Terry Stogner, now the commissioner of the PAL, was the head coach of that team. 1984. That's how far you got to go back for Carlmont to play in a PAL tournament championship game until 2019 as they knock off Jefferson. Jefferson on quite a run right now. They did go undefeated in league. No, 1 loss in league.
1 loss, and that was without Costignano. He was out sick for a loss to Terra Nova. You'll see those Terra Nova Tigers in the 7:30 game against Menlo Atherton, though we are a bit behind schedule. Probably get that one started more like 7:45 or 8. Either way, more good basketball ahead here at Sequoia.
Absolutely. I'm going to quickly go over a little bit of the first game, get you caught up, and then in a minute we're going to go over to Ethan for some points from this game, some leaders as far as, and then we'll go back to the studio for a quick second. We will grab a quick break, and we'll be back for game 3, which is going to be Terra Nova and Sequoia on the girls' side. That'll be coming up next. Game 1, won by South San Francisco, the Warriors 52-45 over Aragon. Becca Tassi, 13 points, 16 rebounds, 6 blocks. Alex Solis had 9 assists and 12 points, and Gabby Natividad had 13 points. Lydia Manu, the first-team All-Leaguer, led Aragon with 18. Aragon's next game will be the CCS playoffs in Division III. South San Francisco will play tomorrow night at 6 o'clock versus the winner of the next game, Sequoia and Terra Nova. Terra Nova on the boys' side will be the final game of the night. Game 1 on the boys' side just ending moments ago is Carlmont. A 10-0 run in the first quarter and a 15-0 run bridging the third and fourth quarters led them to the 60-50 victory over the Jefferson Grizzlies. Jefferson did have a 16-0 run. However, they were not able to come out of here with the win. Jefferson's next game will also be in the CCS playoffs. Carlmont will play tomorrow night in their first PAL tournament championship game since 1985 when they knocked off Mills 40-33. Some final stats on this game, and then we'll send it back to the studio, starting out with Jefferson under their 6-year coach, John Falabella. As I mentioned, they were champions of the North, 11-1. They fall to 17-8 overall. Carlmont 10-2, second in the South. They're now 21-4 overall. And looking at Jefferson, really Castellano was the big gun for them.
He was, and it's mind-blowing that he was only second team in all league.
So we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the opening tip for the second girls game. You are listening to South City Video Art on the YouTube channel.